so I just logged onto my computer.
Kind of crazy. I think we about there. Here we go. Welcome back. Welcome back to another Hump Day Real Estate with Kendall in the DMV. And we got the man, Jay Edwards, the loan officer of the year for Baltimore City in the house. How you making out, Jay?
Things good, man. Just working, man. That's all. Got a big event coming up tomorrow, so been planning for that. So just looking forward to just keeping out there and grinding.
Gotcha. I don't know if it can you see me or you're a little
Yeah, I can see.
spotty. Okay. So, man, I reached out to you to get on today, man, because you put a post on Facebook and you said there is so much lending misinformation being shared by non-MLO professionals. Talk to us about that.
You know, every time I go on like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, there's always somebody giving some type of advice, lending advice. And I'm like, this person's not a licensed lender. You know, they might be either a real estate agent or an investor or someone who just claims to be, you know, a guru in the space. But at the end of the day, when it comes to lending, it's specific and you have to know what you're talking about. You know, you have to really be able to provide information, not just clickbait. And I think a lot of people post clickbait information so they can get some potential leads. And I get it. Everybody wants to eat. Everybody wants to move and move their business. But sometimes you got to make sure you got the right information. And that's where I always see a challenge when it comes to that. That's why I made that post. Somebody was posting. I can't remember the details of it, but I just remember myself and another lender was in the comments, and they were like, "This information is wrong.
Gotcha.
Take this down." But you know, their response is like, "Oh no, I'm just trying to help the people." I'm like, "You're not helping the people. You're confusing the people," and
Yeah.
that's what happens. Confusion.
Yeah. Yeah. And so with that, what's some information you can share today, this off the top of your head, or if you have some that can help people with a little bit of insight today, and then, hopefully after this video, your information will be there and some folks can give you a call to come directly to the source
Yeah.
to get the information they need.
I mean, there's so many topics when it comes to this. One of the biggest things I just tell people, when you're having a conversation and you're dealing with questions that should be geared towards a lender, you just need to ask a lender. That's just literally the bottom line. But there's information out there. Somebody reached out to me and say, "Oh yeah, I heard that, when I can't switch jobs, I got to be at the same job for 2 years." That's not true. You can have 2-year work history is what we're looking for from a lending perspective. So again, it's just a matter of understanding and knowing who to speak to. Now, if you like, I had someone, just to give you an example, I had someone that totally switched careers,
Hmm.
and a question came up and we had to do a little bit of verification, but the person went from like a school teacher to a bus driver. And the only thing that we had to get was a copy of their CDL license to confirm
Gotcha.
that they are able to drive a bus, and so some of the things can be pretty simple, but some people make it hard. Also, when it comes to credit pulls, I get it, I hear it all the time. So many lenders are doing soft pulls, and I think they're really just doing it just to kind of hold on to that client so they don't feel so they don't feel the need to shop around. But now a lot of people are like, well, do you do soft pulls? Or I only want to deal with someone who does soft pulls. And I'm like, well, why? You have all this soft pull information that you don't want to use, like Credit Karma and all that stuff. You don't want to use that information anyway. But if we want to know exactly where you stand, all right, we have to pull your credit because we need to see real time what your credit looks like. Because all these other services, if it's not a hard pull, something could be missing,
Yeah.
and it may not be accurate. That's the biggest thing. It may not be accurate. So we want to make sure that information is accurate. And I will explain to people the reason why you want to have that happen. And two, one is accuracy, and two, when it comes to that credit report pull, it's a snapshot. They're worried about what their app says. We don't care about what the app says because it's not real life. The
Yeah.
app try to just gives you guidance on how you're trending. However, when we pull your credit, shot in time and for 90 days. So, we pull your credit and then a couple minutes later you see the app, oh, it went down 30 points. One, it didn't go down 30 points because it's whatever we pulled it for that 90-day time. So just having those type of conversations to let people understand the process is important because you want to be able to shop around. I had a prime example. Someone came to me with an FHA. They said they got an FHA pre-approved from another lender. There was a 694 credit score. Their agent referred them to me and said, "Hey, talk to Jerry." And I got the file. I'm like, "Oh, I can do the 100% financing, no PMI, and get you a $5,000 grant. And then if you have anything else you can qualify, we can stack." And she was blown away,
Hmm.
because she didn't have to, she didn't have to put the 3.5% down, or wasn't pigeonholed into like a Maryland mortgage program or some other option. But we eliminated the down payment, eliminated the mortgage insurance, and gave her another $5,000. And she was totally blown away. Her payment was lower, her out of pocket was lower, and I was able to buy the rate down to get it to where it was comparable to an FHA loan because the rates are lower with FHA. But if I can get rid of mortgage insurance, it's obsolete. Doesn't even matter.
Man, every time I think of most buyers, especially in Baltimore, I automatically think of Jerry Edwards, right? And I think of that 100% financing program because most people are complaining about their mortgage payment, right, being too high. My question is why are you guys not inundated with people knocking down your door for that program? Because it's just every time I explain it to somebody, they're like, "Wow, really? 100% financing, and then they can get up to $5,000 an in-house
Grant?
grant." Like, come on, like it's just it's no reason why folks aren't knocking down your door to
Yeah,
get that program.
it's the gatekeeping thing. So you have people who deal with certain lenders, and that's all they do. They don't sway from that. And unfortunately, they don't give the opportunity to the buyer to shop around, because most of the people that we deal with on a day-to-day basis go to real estate agents first. So the real estate agent has they pretty much control the bus. So if they might know me, right? But they don't
Hmm.
work with me. So they'll
Yeah,
work with whoever they're comfortable working with because they just never took time to listen to what I have to offer or whatever the case might be. Somebody may not have a favorable experience, and that happens. Every nobody's perfect, but at the end of the day, as of late, just to kind of be transparent, it's been challenging connecting with agents. Because you know how I get down. I go, we just grab some coffee, let's go grab lunch, let's talk about the program over the phone or whatever the case is. So it's just a matter of getting out in front. And every time I have this program and I talk to the listing agent on the other side that's about to ratify the contract, they're
hmm,
like, "Oh, after this transaction, we need to connect because I have
yeah,
people who
yeah,
could benefit from 100% financing and no PMI."
right,
And it's funny because one person I was talking to, we connected like years ago, but never really moved forward with anything. We never actually got connected. We texted a few times and that was it.
right.
But and I share the information. I send it out when I meet people. I just don't. They don't. Sometimes they don't. They have a block in their mind that I work with this particular lender, or I work with these few lenders. I don't need any more lenders. So they don't listen. They don't listen. They don't. They take the time out to say, okay, what does Jerry have to offer at Fulton? And why are these clients happy about their product? But again, there's so many lenders out there, so many real estate agents out there. They just do what they know and they do what they're comfortable with. So I get it. I don't understand why they not beating down the door either, man.
Well,
Because it's
well,
a
this
it's a great option.
this is the crazy thing. So there are loan officers out there that are mad with me because all they hear about when I do have one of those borrowers is Jerry Edwards. So
But why they
it
mad though? I mean,
so
I'm not mad when somebody goes to another lender.
well, yeah, but just it's everybody wants to have a shot, right? But just like you
Yeah.
mentioned, it with my clients when they come to me, I also look at what they got going on, right? And
Or-
based off of what they got going on, I segment and I give everybody a little bit if I got them coming in like that, right?
Yeah.
But it's just challenging a lot of times because if you're in a certain market and a certain price point, this product just makes total sense. So I
Yeah.
know where I'm going, right? I know where the referral is going to, because it's not going to make any sense coming from me to send a borrower that's already complaining about what their mortgage payment
Monthly
going to be
payment,
to go do it to,
how much I got to spend.
yeah, and go to a Maryland mortgage program, a lender that only can do Maryland's mortgage program for down payment assistance, right? And but the tenant, I mean, but the buyer has 700 credit score, right?
Yeah.
It almost not going to make any sense for me to take that
And I
person.
get it. Hmm.
So
Yeah. I mean, I get it.
that's where it becomes. But it's never a thing with me on just being stuck on the lender. To be honest with you, I love you, Jai. I love my folk, but I'm stuck on the product. And because that product solved the problem for my buyer,
Yeah.
right?
And it helps.
Yeah, that's what it ends up boiling down to. I love my folks that I work with, but when it comes down to it, I'm looking at when this borrower came to me, what were they complaining about, and what's going to help me get that borrower in the house. Because if I got to take the borrower here and the taxes are higher, but and etc. And then the payment's going to be out of where they need to be. I already know that. Who can help with that process on the loan side? And it's probably going to be Jay Edwards, unfortunately. Sorry, folks. It's going to be Jay Edwards. I'm sorry. It's just who I'm going to call. And somebody else tell me something different. That's the man I'm reaching out to, folks, for in that type of situation. And so I just don't understand, why folks aren't beat down the door and why they not giving it a chance to hear what you have, because what you
Yeah.
have actually is amazing, man. Because from I think we've been connected now for about 7 years, something like
Yeah.
that. Um, when I came to you, when we connected, the language was kind of different, because I think when I used to come to you and I'm like, dude, the closing cost, how much is the closing cost? The closing cost from this, but you didn't understand what I was saying, because I was speaking from those grants from the city where the lenders had to get their commission on the back end. So the
Yeah.
closing cost was higher. And then when you were coming, you like, boy, what are you talking about? The closing costs about, average 4.5 or whatever percent with it.
Yeah.
And you can understand really where I was coming from. But then I'm like, I don't understand where you're coming from. But then when we did a deal, like, this makes sense over here. I ain't even gotta try to understand no more. This is what it is, because you know what I'm saying? Like, this borrower saved X amount, and I didn't see anywhere on the HUD 1.75% origination or any of that craziness, right? So it just made sense, and all the different classes, and it need to, you need 45 to 60 days to close. All of that went out the window.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's some programs that require it, of course, that, the old, what we like to still call CDBG, which is the first time home buyer incentive. And you got to have the HQS inspection. So certain things you have to deal with some of those longer ones. But if we can get someone to avoid it and utilize 100% financing, in-house grant, this way we can try to win a contract. That's what it comes down to, is getting that
100%.
contract, and we can, we do it enhanced reviews. And I know a lot of lenders are doing enhanced reviews as well, where it goes to directly to the underwriting on the front end. But there's times where I hear that people are getting these pre-approvals and they didn't even get out documents yet. I'm like, how the heck they get a
I,
pre-approval?
I some of these loan companies, and they hate me when the borrower come, because I'm like, dude, come on now. We've been doing this too long, and know that pre-qualification letter is with I mean, the saying pre-qualification letter is already scary, but to hear that you haven't done anything but pull credit is like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, yeah. I don't even look at the file unless I got documents. I'll pull credit. I'll let them know, hey, your credit looks good. I need the documents before I can look at your file, because it's a waste of time. If somebody takes 2 weeks to send in your documents, why am I sitting here for an hour and a half trying to work on all these different scenarios, and I don't even know what your income is. I don't know if you owe taxes. I don't know if you have, 10 different Affirm accounts that we got to take into consideration. You know, um, it's a lot that goes on, and the documents are important because that can adjust and change the pre-qualification if you don't look at the documents. And
Right.
then when you might have them out there looking at shopping, and then you get the documents and you're like, oh crap, I can't, they don't qualify for that much.
Yeah, it's just the
So I'd
most.
rather just do it on the front end and get out the way.
Yeah, that's the best way up front, because all these people want to go see houses, and they
Mhm.
then they get mad with you when you're an upfront agent and you say, "Have you gotten lending squared away yet?" And then you got to go into the whole spill of why that makes sense to get them to understand. I don't understand that. Like, I mean, you're not going into the car dealer. Even if you're going into the car dealership, I think you should have went to somebody and got a pre-approval
Mhm.
so that you can go into the car dealership and be able to properly negotiate, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
with a
It's
house,
it's vital. It's vital. Like I'm talking to someone now who has a mind, a amount in mind before they got pre-approved, and now the amount is lower, and now they can't. Now they feel they can't find a house.
and that
Because,
hurts.
yeah,
If
yeah,
you
because you have
walk
an
in,
expectation.
if you walk into a house, you fell in love with it, right? This is how I end up having to explain to these folks. If you walk into a house, you fall in love with it, and you say, Marcellus, now let's go talk to Jerry. And then Jerry comes back and say that you're only approved for 100,000, you're $100,000 less than what the house is selling for.
Mhm.
You're talking about somebody that'll be hurt, crushed,
Yeah, yeah, yep, yep. And
crushed your
then they'll
dream,
go, yeah,
and their dreams crushed, and they make good money,
yeah.
right?
And then
You
you have to go
seen
to another lender to try to get a yes.
that they make good,
Yeah,
but you've
it's
seen that,
crazy.
right? The folks make real good money, but that's the reason why they say, "No, let's just go." But they don't want.
Yeah,
They want to avoid the actual process. The process is this: let's go talk to Jerry, right? Go give
yep.
Jerry
Because
everything
they don't know
you
what their debt
he
looks like.
asked you for. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. All they paying
They
attention
don't
to
really
is I make.
a hundred
Yep.
thousand dollars or something like. Yeah, yeah. I get it,
It's,
man,
it's, it's
and
this
it's frustrating.
it's the hardest thing, man, to try to get these folks to really understand that. And it really hurt when it was real big for agents who were getting leads from Zillow,
Mhm.
because the way they were operating is when the lead comes in, just go show the house, right? That's
Yep.
how they converted the lead. And now they're in these houses, they spend their time running around chasing folks at houses that the folks aren't pre-approved. And that hurt, man. That time and energy and all of that stuff to show two or three or four people a house a day, and none of them are pre-approved.
It's a waste
You're
of
talking
time,
about
man.
a possible waste of time.
No, it is. It's a total waste of time.
It's this unbelievable. But man, you got some more to share. I didn't want to take up much of your time today, but I just wanted to dive into um that what you had post. So if you want to share anything else, I don't really have a platform of questions for you.
I mean, basically, when I posted that post, again, it's just coming from a place where there's licensed professionals, right? And I get it. Everybody wants to try to, get leads and get people to DM them and ask them questions and get in a pipeline. But just make sure the information, because what happens a lot of the times is that someone that's not a licensed loan officer will give someone some information, and then once they speak to a licensed loan officer and they get the correct information, now they're totally confused and they don't understand, and then they're going back to that person who's like who gave them that information, and well, the lender's telling me this. I'm like, well, the lender's correct, you know, because a lot of
Yeah,
times we always got to come up against being trusted. People don't trust
yeah,
lenders. They don't trust the bank because I think it's also the vernacular and the tone that we use when it comes to a lender. Like we're licensed. Like I got a 94 on my test. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Now
right.
that doesn't mean that I know everything because it's a lot of stuff to learn. But I take pride in what I do. And if I don't know something, I'm not going to just blurt it out there. I'll say, hey, you know what? That's a great question. Let me go ahead and find out, and I'll follow back up with you. But the stuff that some people put, especially on social media platforms, I sit there sometimes and I have to unfollow people
Yeah,
because trying to talk and have a conversation about some misinformation, it just falls on deaf ears and they get offended. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So it's a tough process, but just make sure you're vetting the information because anytime someone is talking about lending information, you should be speaking to an actual licensed lender.
Yep. I agree.
You know, that's really what
I
it
agree.
comes down to.
And the information, if you anybody see me share information, the information was kind of vetted from that
Mhm.
source
Yeah.
of where it comes from, and
Mhm.
then I'll even kind of try to guide the folks to somebody like you
Mhm.
to get more information and just pull some stuff together. I think that's the way. If you're going to do it, I believe that's the way you should do it. Get factual information, at least as
Yeah.
close to facts as you can, right?
Yeah.
And then if even if you're trying to do it for leads, right, you get the most factual information as you can, and then add your other resources into that conversation to help you.
Look, you can even do, because things can be so quickly done on social media, you can DM a lender, hey, you got some time available at this time? Let's do an ask the lender session or let's talk about some stuff and have you on so you can tell people from a lending perspective what's going on. That's better
Yeah,
because now you're
yeah,
getting it from the horse's mouth.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
not guessing, you're not providing misinformation, you're not confusing buyers. Because they'll tell you, oh, my real estate agent told me this. I'm like, well, is your real estate agent a lender?
yeah,
If they're not, they
yeah.
shouldn't have told you.
And that's why I try to get you guys on. Sometimes it get a little hard. Like last week, I had a guy on that was actually a hard money lender,
Yeah,
but he didn't like where I was going at with the topic, so he ran away from it. He didn't want to deal with it. So, which I guess I understand. But my thing was is I wasn't just like the when I sent the information to you, I wasn't trying to go down the rabbit hole with what the thumbnail was saying. I was trying to go down the rabbit hole of this is what the problem is, and here's the guy that has the solution.
yeah, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm never trying to get somebody to talk in the space where that's not where they need that, and it's a compliance issue as well, right? To be talking about
mm,
stuff that you probably really shouldn't talk about. So that's not where I'm normally trying to go. It's like, hey, is this problem here? Here's the guy that can help solve that problem, and then get you
mm.
on and have you kind of explain where
Yeah,
things
yeah, and
are.
that's what it's about, just providing the right information and going to the source, to ask, some people ask me questions. I'm like, hey, I gotta talk to one of my realtor partners to find out that answer, and I'll call somebody, I ask them the question, and they, like you said, kind of just relay it. But I'm just not out spewing information just to try to get clickbait and try to get leads that way. I mean, I just think it's wrong, but every to each his own, to each his own. But just but any buyers looking at this, just buyer beware, man. So
Yeah.
when you need questions answered from a lending perspective, ask a lender. There's this one group out there that people are always asking questions to the group. No, that's a lender question. Who's your
Right.
lender? Go to them. Ask your lender. And if you have a problem with trusting what your lender is saying, find someone that you feel confident with.
But
Because your lender should be able to tell you that information.
I tell you, that's very heavy in a lot of groups, even outside of buyer sellers situation. Even when we're talking about something, you know, like some of the groups that real estate agents or loan officers might be in, you're asking their broker. Same same type of scenario. Like, why are you on here asking these questions when you should be asking your broker the question?
Yeah, yeah.
Go
And then you
go
get
directly to the source that where your leadership is and get the information. But you
Mhm.
on here want to ask 40,000 people that's a part of this group,
Mhm.
and then
and
you're going
then
to be all
and
over
then
the
get
place.
different answers.
So yeah,
Then get different answers, different
yeah,
opinions. Like
yeah,
my response a lot in this one first time home
yeah,
buyer group is ask your lender. That's my response to most of the questions.
yeah.
I don't sit there and try to answer all these questions and all this stuff. Ask your lender, talk to your lender. They should know. And if you can't get a hold of your lender and they're not responsive, then get a new lender. It's okay. Get a new lender. You know, just
Hmm.
communicate and just get a new
Yep,
lender. But at the end of the day, we
yep.
want to make sure that we're just giving out the correct information, and just beware of the clickbait. My opinion is the people who providing some of this information that might be loosely true, that might have a lot of flaws in it, that's not accurate. You know, unfortunately, they're probably not doing as great as they should, but everybody's struggling. It's not just, you know, one or two people. Everybody's struggling. 80% of people are struggling right now when it comes to this market. You know, but
Mhm.
the least you can do is provide accurate information.
I agree, 100%.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I had, man. That's all I had. I got to get to some
At least
stapling some
close
stuff for
close to it
tomorrow.
as possible. If you went to
No, you broke up.
can reach you. Uh-oh, I get bad internet. Can you hear me? No?
Yeah, so if you're looking to reach me,
Can you hear me?
yeah, yeah, you're kind of breaking up, but you just asked me to pretty much share my info, correct? Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yep.
So yeah, so
Yep.
on Facebook, it's my full name, Jerry J. Edwards Jr. On Instagram is MD Mortgage Pro. Cell phone number is 410-499-0620. And my email is jedwards@fultonmortgagecompany.com. You can Google my name and type in Fulton, or go to the Fulton website and look me up that way. Yeah, on one of the platforms, and happy hunting.
And, and it'll be in the comments as well if you can hear me. So Jerry, thanks again for taking the time out, man, to share that info.
All right,
And
you got it,
I
man.
look
You got it.
forward to working with you soon. Talk to
Yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's try
you
to get some
soon.
people on the board, man. All right, then.
Have a blessed one.
You too.